Well, good morning, YouTube. Today I am at the Quincy mine, which is it's also a copper mine like the last video, but it's a little bit bigger operation and a little bit more modern. I'm gonna go check out the shaft over here, the rock house, which is what this is, and then go down and do the underground tour and above ground. So let's see what we can find here. This gives you an idea of what the mine is. The rock house is up here, and it goes down 6,000 feet, 90 levels. Final shaft depth was 6,225 feet. We're only going to go down on a tour to the 7th level, which is way up here, because everything underneath that is now flooded. So, and get an idea of the rock house. They could bring the skip up, where the water skip was. They could dump the water there, or they could take it up, and the rock bin here, pour rock here, copper rock up here, and hammer crushers down into the bin. So let's go outside and take a look. So right now we're in the rock house, and there's two things here. This is the man car. This is how they got in and out. The miners would sit on these benches and be lowered down in. A lot better than having to walk downstairs or climb down, because this one goes down quite a ways. On the other side, this is a water bailing skip. So basically, instead of pumping the water out, they could bail it out. This brought up 1,300 gallons at a time, which the size of this mine probably is like a teaspoon trying to bail out a bathtub. The poor rock would have been dumped out here, hauled off into a slag heap, or a heap, and the good rock would have been, after it was crushed, brought over here and then taken off to the smelter to be refined. So this building here is the 1894 hoist house, and then the one next to it, the larger one, is a 1918 hoist house. And what they would have housed is the big steam or electric engines that would have run cables up here and into the rock house to run the hoist up and down. And these big pulleys that up here, they're mounted, they would have been up on big posts or framework like that to run the cables on. Well, the Quincy mine was operated from 1847 to 1946, so almost 100 years. They had 1 year, 1913, where strikes shut the mine down while the union organized, and so this was in operation for quite a long time, which explains why it's so deep. So this is the hoist that the cables on one side would be winding up and the other side would be winding out to run down. It's all steam powered, and the controls are up there. It was completed in 1920. So while we're doing the surface part of the tour, a thunderstorm rolled in, and it is a torrential downpour. You got water coming in under the doors, and can't really see much outside, but I guess the power went off, and there's a tour that's underground, and so they're down there with no lights, but I'm sure they'll be okay. I'm sure they got some emergency lighting down there. So this is the cog railway that takes you down to where the entrance to the mine is. So this is the electric tram that takes us down in.
There's the tunnel. No, you stand up. He's on the left. Hold me tight. You hang on to him. So this is the original tunnel on the right here.
This is not original.
Right there. Wow.
This is how much it's about. Yeah. I hope we're not going to get wet.
So this is a pretty modern mine. It's big, and you don't have to stoop over to mine like the remember how the Delaware mine, that last video, was much narrower tunnels than this. And this one's huge. So this is shot copper. And they can make money off of this, where the pure copper, they couldn't. So this is pure copper, and it's like 99% pure, but it's really hard to mine because it's really dense, really heavy, and hard to, you can't blast it, you can't drill through it, and you just got to chip it apart.
Across the number 5 shaft.
Okay, so this would, doing it by hand was 3-man job, and then as they automated, they went to a 2-man drill, and because it produced so much heat, one man had to throw water on it, and then they went to a 1-man drill, which they called the Widowmaker, because you were working by yourself, and if something happened, hopefully somebody would find you. But this one also squirted water into the hole as it was dry. They got a nice classroom here.
I'll even got a white chalkboard.
Okay, so these were remnants of the railroad cars that would have been hauling the ore down to the foundry and returning full of coal, because they use coal to power the steam that ran all the hoists and everything. And one of the electric engines that would have hauling the carts around when they got away from having the men pulling them. I mean, the operator would sit back here, and basically you're only going forward, backwards, and how fast you're going. So also on the grounds, a couple of the old steam engines. On this one, number 5 was involved in an accident. It was coming along, and the tracks had washed out, and it plunged off the tracks. The coal tender in the back came into the cab and killed the engineer and I think the fireman, but they were able to eventually get it up out of there, and here it is. And it pretty much looks like you'd expect after all the westerns you've probably seen. It's sort of cool. I can't really get up into them, but just another aspect of what's here.